I don't see Diane, which is a rarity.
Oh. I can give her a quick call.
You know, Kathy, you might want to, only because, you know, this is Friday, which is totally.
Right.
I'll call her. I'll call her. I have her cell.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, why don't you do that then? Sorry, I fell off my radar, and probably John the same thing, although he came in the beginning of the week and I gave him the agenda.
Well.
Linda called John as well.
I have his number also.
He doesn't have a cell anymore. It's his home line, his landline.
I got that.
No cell left. Okay, it's 1. And we do have a quorum, thank goodness. NCTV, are we on?
Mr. Chair, I believe we are.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it says live on custom live streaming service. So I imagine that means we're on. It says recording. Okay, so I'm going to start this meeting. Hello, everyone.
Diane's coming.
Great. Welcome to the HDC. For the record, this is Ray Pohl, Chairman of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. I'm going to confirm that we have some members here. Members, when I call your names, if you can respond in the affirmative, that would be great. Val Oliver.
Here.
Thank you, Abby Camp.
Here.
Thank you, Abby. Hello. Carrie Thornwell.
Here.
Great. And has Diane signed in yet, or we come back to her?
She's coming. She had it all set up to go. She's just doing it now.
All right. Well,
She's here.
There she is. She's here.
Diane, if you can hear us, we're taking roll call at the moment. So if you can unmute and just announce yourself. Otherwise, I'll come back. I'm going to come back, seeing as we're trying to get a lot covered today. So staff, when I call your names, if you could respond in the affirmative. Kathy Flynn? Yes? Got it.
Yes.
Holly Backus?
Present.
Very good. And Diane, are you there yet? No.
You lost her again.
All right, I'll go through the boilerplate stuff and then I'll return. Hopefully she'll be back by then. Okay, this open meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order dated March 12th, 2020. That order, posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to convene remotely, so long as public access to deliberations is reasonably provided. This meeting is convening via Zoom with video and audio recording, and we are being broadcast via YouTube on our town's YouTube channel. With no member of the public having asked to speak at this time, this meeting will not feature public comment. Materials provided to members for the meeting or provided during this meeting are, unless otherwise noted, available on our town's website. During the meeting, I will introduce agenda topics and speakers. Everyone, please remember to mute your Zoom audio until your name is called. And please direct comments and questions through the chair to avoid crosstalk and to make Terry's taking of the minutes easier. Finally, votes taken at today's meeting will be done via roll call. Okay, first I'm going to see if Diane is with us yet. Diane Coombs, if you're with us and if you can unmute, let me just look through the queue here and see whether she's on.
Mr. Chair, I don't see her.
Okay, we'll continue.
She's having trouble getting in, guys.
Okay, well, so we have a few things we can knock off before her presence is more actively required. The first thing, before we move to approve the agenda, I know that Kathy wants to make a couple modifications to the agenda. So Kathy, you want to tell us what we're doing?
Yes, under new business of April 27th, items 20 and 22 need to be removed from the agenda.
20 and 22.
So 20 is 22 Orange Street, and 22 is 36 Pocomo Road, addition to dwelling.
Just remove them.
Yes, please.
Okay, and wouldn't it be great if we got that far on our agenda? We'll see.
Somebody has to let Diane in. She's just sitting and sitting and sitting, but nobody's letting her in.
I don't see an admittance thing.
Yeah, she's not there at
Yeah,
all.
it's just cycling.
Request to be admitted.
Nope, because I'm letting people in left and right, so she's not there yet.
All right, so we do have a quorum. So there's a few things that we can knock off before we get to our new business section of the program. The first thing is the consent agenda, which has 19 items on it. Let's see, we may have some issues here because it looks like Val, you're going to need to recuse from some. Carrie, you're going to need to recuse from some.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
did you approve the agenda? Did I hear a
Oh,
motion?
no, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. So let's go back to that. Could I have a motion to approve the modified agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Val. On that motion, Carrie,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
and Ray Paul is in favor, so that motion carries. All right, now, if we don't have Diane, I'm gonna recommend that we hold out Val's 2 applications, which would be items 8 and 9, okay? Then that means that Val could vote on everything except 8 and 9 if they're pulled out, all right? And then Carrie would simply need to recuse from this first round.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair. 8 and 9.
Yeah, so the motion is to remove 8 and 9. Val, obviously you need to recuse from that one. So on Abby's motion, Carrie.
Aye. Wait,
Ab-
is that right? We're taking out vowels?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Temporarily. Temporarily.
mine are still in, so I shouldn't be voting.
No, you can vote to take out vowels.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I thought we were.
That's all
voting
we're
on-
doing right now. We're
Okay.
not moving to approve the agenda. We're
Thanks,
just
I got it now.
taking out vowels. So the only person needs to recuse from that is Val.
Okay,
So,
aye.
Abby made the motion, Carrie, you're in, and I'm in. Okay, so now we have an agenda, a consent agenda that includes everything except items 8 and 9. And on that, Val can vote, Carrie, you cannot, but we're going to move forward with those. Could somebody give me a
Don't
motion?
you mean 13 and 14 for Thornwell?
What?
We're taking out Carrie's now, right?
No.
Oh,
All we're doing right now, and this is a motion that you can make, Abby, if you don't mind, is to approve everything on consent with the exception of 8 and 9.
okay.
All right, that's your motion?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, great. So on that motion, Val,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. So that-
Diane is here.
hang
I'm
on.
here.
Okay, I
I'm here.
got you, Diane. Yeah, but let me just finish. We're almost finished with consent and we're there. So now on Val's 2 items, obviously Val will need to recuse, but Carrie can sit. So the board is Abby, Carrie, myself. Somebody care to make a motion on those 2 items alone?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Abby. So on that motion, Carrie,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. So that covers the entire consent agenda. Thank you. And now Diane has joined us. Carrie will need to recuse from consent with conditions because of item number 8 and
And
2.
2.
And I think everybody else is in. Okay, so motion on that one.
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so Val has made a motion to approve the consent with conditions. On that motion, Diane.
Aye.
Thank you, Diane. Abby.
Aye.
Thank you, Val.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Okay, so that motion carries. Now we're on to signs. What do we got on signs?
Okay, so number 9, Center Street was motion to approve the sign advisory comments.
Okay,
So move.
was that you, Diane?
Yes.
Okay, great. On Diane's motion, Carrie,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Okay, that was item 1.
And items 2, 3, and 4 are the same. They were approved with sign advisory comments.
Very good.
So move.
Thank you, Diane. On Diane's motion for items 2, 3, and 4, Carrie,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. That's 2, 3, and 4. And how about 5?
Number 5, Town of Nantucket, the educational panel. The applicant withdrew the application.
Oh, right.
Yeah, what
Okay.
we discussed.
Okay. Yes, we did discuss that. So there's no action taken on that one.
No action taken.
No action at this time. Okay, so that covers signs. Okay, now we're on to the heart of the business, which is new business. First thing up is 50 Brewster Road. Ethan.
Hi.
You are? Okay. Everyone.
So this is,
I don't know. Okay, go ahead, Ethan.
so actually this is a house that you designed for, I think was a spec project. It never got, it's a blank piece of land right now. And we're designing a new house. It is 25 feet, 6 inches high, cedar natural weather with onyx colored black trim and doors, you know, the onyx color you guys like, wood cedar roof. And that's it. And at the bottom is the bottom is the original approved application, which was a 28-foot high building. If you go all the way down.
Did you
remember
say
that one?
I designed the house?
Or your company?
Oh, I see. So it was
Yeah.
designed and never built or something?
Yes. Remember, I think there was a house here originally that was torn down years ago. Oh, hold on.
I have a vague recollection of this.
Then
But
I think it was sold to design. You designed it to help sell the lot, and then the lot sat. And then we're putting our house in the same place as yours on a flat plateau at the top.
oh, yeah, no, I totally know where this is. And yes, got it. Totally. Now I totally know where we are. Yep.
So if you scroll up one more, that's the front. That's what you'll see. If you pull into the end of the driveway, that's the view you'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Now that you explained all that, I'm like incredibly familiar with this site. Yeah.
Yes.
It's basically at the end of Brewster at the
Way at the end. Yes.
Yeah, at the end. Okay, so Ethan, I'm sure you said this already, but
Yep.
What are the colors and everything on this? Run down it.
Red cedar roof.
Yeah.
The trim is cedar natural to weather.
Yep.
And the windows are doors are the onyx color.
Okay.
And the really visible thing is that's the visible from the street, from the end of the driveway. If you look at my photograph that I supplied at the top, that's from the road. The other sides, you have to go onto the property into the back to see. It's kind of a U-shaped house if you look at the floor plan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a courtyard. A lot of that's courtyarded in. You look at so click that. That's the second floor. And if you look at the first floor, you can see how it's all courtyarded, kind of a letter U.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great, thank you. And I'm guessing that you're probably sticking with the same grade that we had, same spot on the lot.
Exactly, yeah, because it's the most optimum spot that's where the original house was. And yeah, like I said, it's only 25 feet, 6 inches high.
Right, which is, I think, I'm certain it's shorter than what we had.
Yours was 28 foot.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
Who would like to begin on this one?
I will.
Okay.
I really appreciate this design. It just harkens back to sort of old Monomoy, where the buildings were, you know, a story and a half and rambled on and got added here and there. I did have some concern initially with the north elevation, but having looked at it in plan, I see that that is all sort of ensconced in the U shape. So I don't have a concern at all with this house.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll
Very-
go,
All right, thanks, Diane. Go ahead.
because I agree with Val completely. I think it is so typical of what we used to see all the time. I think that it is architecturally great. And
Okay, that's good. Thank you, Diane. Abby, you ready?
Yeah, nothing to add.
Oh,
Nice
boy.
design.
I think
Thank
we're-
you.
We're looking pretty good here. Carrie?
Yep, I'm on board too. Good
All
job.
right. Yeah,
Thank you.
I think it's very attractive. Well done, Ethan. Can somebody give a motion on this one?
I
Motion
make
to
motion to
approve.
approve.
I'll take
Everybody's
Diane's. Diane, I'm going to take that motion. On Diane's motion, Val,
Aye.
Abby, Barry,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
I'm in favor. All right,
Thank
thanks, Ethan. Yep. Okay, so the next four are Val's, so obviously she's going to be presenting. So Sconset Casino, new dwelling.
Okay. These two projects, 13 and 15 New Street, are housing for
Oh, yeah.
Sconset Casino employees.
Mhm.
This is a infill building behind the existing building that's coming up next that we want to renovate. And it is 25 feet high, 768 square foot footprint, which is quite small. I do have minutes from the Sconset Advisory, which I'm sure Holly will fill you in on.
Holly can
And
read that,
as
yeah.
a supplement to what their concern was, I have a side-by-side picture of the two buildings together, which I think will assuage some of that concern. I did send it to Holly and Kathy. I don't know if they were able to scoop it into the thing here, but I can screen share.
I don't, oh, is this it?
Well, that was the original information. The concern of the Sconset Advisory was that they said it felt like it was large and high. And I just wanted to show with comparison to the house that it's next to and behind what that scale was.
Do you want to go ahead and share it?
Sure.
I have it right here, Holly. It's
Oh, perfect.
from probably,
Thank you, Kathy.
sorry, it's just on a different folder.
Yeah, I sent it late.
With that, Mr. Chair, I'll just mention their concerns.
Mhm.
Feels very large and unnecessarily high. Front gable dormer on the south is out of proportion. The new building should be subordinate to the existing historic building in front of it. Recommendations: lower the south gable dormer and raise the north shed dormer. In the alternative, make both dormers and shed dormers. Also recommending closing egress stairway on the east elevation. So those were their comments.
Okay, thanks.
Did you send that, Kathy?
I did.
Sorry.
Closing the stairwell, I'm not quite sure I understand that because it's shingled in.
All right, got it right here. Here's your comparison.
Yeah, so the building on the right in this picture is the building we're talking about.
Yep.
The building on the left is the existing structure that's staying that we're renovating. I just thought it would be helpful to see the comparison of the
Yeah.
two.
It is helpful.
Very helpful. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the stair is a stair to the basement.
It's
Oh,
shingled in, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I also do not quite understand like enclosing it. Do they literally mean like have it as interior space? Anyway.
I can give it a go, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, that would be great, Abby. Thanks.
So, on the south elevation, it's, you see how it looks a little tippy on the right because the gable comes right off the tip of the roof there. I
Yeah.
think,
Oh, you know what? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Keep going.
so I think, whatever, was it historic structures or?
Sconset advisory, yep.
Yeah, Wisconsin, H tab, I guess, was saying to put the sheds back into the roof instead of having them flush dormers, I think would take away that lopsidedness. See, it's very apparent with the front elevation, how heavy it is on the left with that eave and nothing on the right. If that shed dormer comes up, it will balance it out. So I think that's my only comment, and I would do it for the rear elevation as well.
Okay. Thank you. Carrie?
I agree with Abby, but I also think the rear is actually facing the rear. Wait, no, sorry. I'm looking at the right north elevation with the big dormer. Is there any way you can give a little relief to that big elevation? I think that's going to be visible from the street as you're walking down. To put a little porch roof over that door or something across to break up that wall. Because
That faces the tennis court.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The front of this structure faces,
west,
which is really the
east.
driveway. But yeah, I mean, that's.
So this is not on, where was the one? The locust map, that's not on the street. Oh, there's a building between it and the tennis court.
Correct.
Street.
Yeah.
This is,
Oh, no. Okay, so the one that we're going to be reviewing as a renovation, the next one is the one on the street.
the one on the, okay, I had them flipped for some reason.
Yeah, so the bubbled one that's also all in sort of reddish color. That's what we're reviewing right now. So the quote unquote front of this, where the porch is, faces the parking essentially.
Right.
Okay? Doesn't face the road.
Yep. Okay. I get it.
Holly, I think I had some photos at the end, perhaps that might be helpful. Well, that's showing the driveway and the house that's existing from the street.
Okay, so that's facing the street. This is between that and the tennis courts. Now I know.
Correct.
Now I totally get it. Yeah, well, I do agree with that dormer, the big gable dormer. I think it does make it seem lopsided. And I still think it would be nice to have a little porch relief on that north elevation, even though you don't need it and it's not visible. It wouldn't be a deal breaker.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Carrie. Diane?
Hi, I agree with the reduction of the dormer on the south elevation and visible on the east elevation, bring it down. And I don't know, I think on the south elevation that facade is just pretty clear, clean and simple. I don't know that it needs a roof. I would take it the way it is, just plain, without making any more. Otherwise, all the facades are very simple with the exception of the front. And I think that is good and fits in. So that would be my opinion.
Okay. Thanks, Diane. I really only have one request on this, and that is HSAB mentioned the idea of taking the Gable dormer, which is on the west elevation, and potentially changing it into a shed. So I'd like to see that happen. It would simplify the building. It would reduce that height issue. And, not that we'd ever really be able to see this, but, this lopsided aspect that we're seeing on the front and on the rear, that big triangle of the side of the gable dormer, that would all go away. So, and where, I'm not understanding where this proposed porch roof, is that on the west elevation?
It's
South.
it's the north. If you look
Oh,
above the elevation, it says north.
Yes.
North.
That faces the tennis court.
Okay, but like the idea was that to put a roof over that door or what?
No, it was my suggestion to give a little relief to that, but not just over the door. I'd see it extended across a little bit, but it's
Well,
not a big deal. It's not facing.
Okay, I misunderstood. So yeah, my only concern, my only request is that the gable dormer on the west elevation turn to a shed dormer, and then I think I'm good to go personally.
Can we do that through staff? We'll agree to that.
Let's,
I'll make a motion for that.
you would make a motion for that?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. You want to do so?
sure. Motion to approve through staff, reducing the gable dormer on the west elevation to a shed dormer to match the other side.
Okay. That's the motion on the table, folks. So on that motion, Abby?
Does that also mean that it goes up into the roof, or is it just gonna stay like a
It'd
flush?
be like the one on the north.
But maybe change the pitch to a 6. Is that what you're talking about, Abby? That it's just so minuscule, it looks kind of funky?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I'd like to see it set back into the roof, so
Well, Abby, that's what I thought you meant. Now, when you have a flush dormer, you can't do that.
right, so it wouldn't be a flush dormer anymore. It would be a shed dormer.
No, but then she wouldn't have enough room for any windows.
For windows.
If you ran the eave across, there would be no room for windows.
What if she raises the pitch to a 6 and let it run up the roof a little bit more so it doesn't seem so insignificant and a little odd?
I'm okay with that too.
What do you think, Abby?
And then the east elevation, that gable comes down.
It will be gone.
Okay, all right, yeah,
proposal is to get rid of that gable on the left-hand side of the east elevation in favor of the shed.
Yeah, I would be in favor of that motion.
Okay, and the 6 and 12 would probably be good because it would make it feel a little bit more substantial, the shed. So did you add that to your motion, Carrie?
I will.
Okay. All
Do I
right.
need
So
Say it or no?
on the revised motion, which includes 6 and 12 on the now 2 shed dormers, where are you, Abby?
I'm
you?
in.
Okay, so Abby's in favor of the motion. Diane?
Right, yes.
Okay, and Carrie on your motion?
Aye.
All right, and I'm in favor too, so that motion carries. There you go, Val, 1 down. Okay, now we're going to take a look at some modifications to, I believe, the building right next door to that one, right?
Yeah. Holly, could you go to the end because it has the information about the house? So this was an interesting thing to find out. This house is, or at least portions of it, are original circa 1850. And it was moved from the Egypt area in town, North Liberty.
Very funny, Val.
No, it's true. And then in 2009, it was renovated completely to as it stands right now. And so really, there is not a huge amount of significant change to the structure itself. What we're asking to do is lift it and put a new foundation under it with a basement.
Mm-hmm.
That's that she just went past is the renovation from 2009. And it does have a window and door schedule. There are no windows that are original to the house. And what we'd like to do is, so lift it, put a basement, which obviously will mean there's a basement stair. And then replace the doors and windows, but look at the plan, because what we're proposing is the part that faces the street would stay true divided light with the storms, and the rear of the structure, we'd like to do SDLs if possible, and then re-shingle everything and put some new decks.
Okay. Yeah, these are the real elevations. We were just looking at the prior.
Yeah.
There. Okay. Is that it, Val?
Yep.
All right.
So
How about,
these are going to be little apartments for people who work at the casino.
okay. So what does Sconset Advisory have to say on this one, Holly?
Yes. So first of all, thank you, Val, for that history. That was awesome to find, and all the different folders and coffins that are linked to it, but pretty cool. Sconset's concerns were to, well, first provide a updated window survey. So thank you for notating that there's no existing historic windows available, but that it was hard to discern from the application. So thank you. SAB always prefers TDLs, especially on this historic house. Consider a better replacement for sliding doors on the north elevation.
And that's a light kind.
Okay, and no concerns for the foundation basement. I will say that there was a discussion, if you watch the video, of the exterior stairs, but I don't believe that that will be visible from any public way. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thanks, Holly. All right, who would like to start?
I would start.
Okay, go ahead, Diane. Thank you.
The stairs being invisible from any view, and the north elevations, it seems to me, looking at both pictures, that she's followed along on the old window placement. And you wanted to put SDLs on which elevation, Val?
Basically the rear, and I do have it marked on the floor plans exactly which one, what you can see from the street will remain true divided.
Okay. Well, that is a good. So I think that she has replaced everything like kind as close as you can get. So I think, to me, it's acceptable to go along with what has been proposed in the other building.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Abby, are you ready?
Yeah, did we talk about colors yet? And I wanted to ask about the colors of the shutter on the new building too. I don't think anybody mentioned what color the shutters were on that last.
Black.
Oh, goodness. That's too bad we didn't get to that. I would have preferred like a dark green or something, but
I don't think it's a deal breaker, so we can change
thank
it.
you, Val. I think black's a little harsh for a.
I can change that to a green, and then on this one, it's white and white to keep with what it is right now.
Right, right, and in the elevation that's on the driveway, sort of looking into the driveway, that's that east elevation, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So all of those stairs, could we scroll to all of that, this would be facing back into that new house?
Yeah.
Well, in that direction, yes. And that house is right in back of it. So from the court, you wouldn't see it.
And then didn't ASAP just say, or Holly just said that we wouldn't see the west? Was that not?
Yeah, because of the proximity to that hedge that they have. If you can look at the west photo that I tried to take in the corner.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really close to that hedge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think the outside staircases, I don't think they're that attractive, but they do come up in like commercial properties, in Sconset, it's sort of a funky thing that happens there. So I'm okay with it. Also, most of it looks in, back on itself. So I'm fine with it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Abby. Carrie?
I'm okay with it too. I just want to, I think the right side elevation and the front should all be TDLs on that main mass. Is that like the main original mass should all have TDLs, and the rear
They do.
mass, they do the whole
Yeah.
thing, not just the front?
With the exception of where it starts to indent on the right, the secondary mass.
Right.
The whole front is, and then the whole main section of the existing structure stays.
And then on this east elevation, what about the little gable on the second floor and the shed mass? Are those?
That's a TDL too, I think. It's on there. I just can't see it from here.
It looks like SDL.
Oh, okay.
It says TDL.
But
It
just
can stay,
if that one can stay TDL, then the whole sort of front mass is TDL, and then the rear mass, which is less prominent from anywhere. Other than that, I think it's good.
Okay. Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, I have nothing to add. I think that putting the SDLs on the back portion of this will be acceptable. SDLs, the technology has come a long way in the last 20 years, and now it's really hard to tell the difference. So, if they're off of the front face of the building that faces the public, I think we're safe approving them, and certainly they are way more energy efficient, so I'm okay. Would somebody care to make a motion on this one?
I'll make a motion saying to approve with the windows on the secondary part being SDLs and the one SDL on the main thing to be a TDL.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you for the motion, Diane. On that motion, Abby.
Abby is good with that.
All right, Carrie.
Aye.
Very good. Diane, on your motion?
Aye.
And I am too. So that's that, Val. Thank you.
mhm. I'm gonna hold the next one.
Oh, okay. Fine. So skip that. And you still have one left at 17 Broadway, color change.
Yep.
Hello.
Now, okay, John McLaughlin has joined our ranks. Hello,
Yeah.
John.
Man, I finally got on. I got trouble with this computer, but it's on now. Thank you.
Great. Well, welcome, John. So if you, we are now on to item number 5 under the new business. It's called Prickly Pear. It's Val's application, and it's a color change at 17 Broadway. And because Val's representing, that means you can sit on it. Actually, we all can sit on it, other than Val, that is. So Val, what are you trying to do?
It's a request. If you can scroll up, this house on Broadway that just had a renovation has some lattice and some doors that were blue. And the owner wants to know if they can change that blue to one that they saw photos coming up here on 4547 Sankaty to a different color blue.
Val,
HSAB did not like that blue.
well, I got to tell you, honestly, I'm pretty sure I know which house this is, and I'm not sure that that's really an accurate rendering of the color in the photograph. And that looks like electric blue to me.
Well, I have what the Benjamin Moore colors were that match the house at 4547, but I probably should have gotten chips. It's really just a change from a darker blue to a lighter blue, but
Yeah.
Holly can fill you in on that.
Sure.
I'm ready to go too.
Well, let's hear from Holly first, okay? So Holly, you're probably going to confirm what Val just said, but go ahead.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to remind the commission that this is a older structure within Sconset, dated, this is Nonantum from 1791, obviously a pretty significant structure.
Yeah.
Basically, Sconset was, first we were concerned on the existing, is the existing lattice actually blue? But obviously it is. They prefer the existing color that's there now versus this whatever color that's on Sankaty Road, that it's not appropriate. I think basically the this example is not sufficient for this one. So that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Abby, you wanted to say something, so go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just wanted to say that the light blue on Sankaty Road is inappropriate, and I don't know how that ever got passed. So, it's too bad they're using that as a color they like. I think the darker blue, the Folger blue, whatever it is, will blend in better with when the shingle's gray and not be so prominent. And as HSAB said, it's a more historic color. So I would stick with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Val? Oh, no, not Val. Diane, sorry.
So I looked at this for a long time on the view thing and to try to decide which was good. I think the powder blue, which is the Sankaty Road one, is too light. I think that the darker one is good. The only thing that disturbed me was the lattice being painted.
It has been though all along.
It has been, yeah.
Yeah.
I just, with the new shingles and stuff, it seems to stick out more, but I would go with the darker blue that was there. And I think when the shingles darken, it won't be so prominent in your eyes seeing that lattice first off. So that would be my view.
Okay. Thank you, Diane. John?
I'm right here.
Yep. Do you have any comments on the proposal to change the blue to a lighter blue on this house?
Yeah, I got problems here. I don't believe, but anyway, blue is a standard color on some houses, but this blue is off of dark blue.
That's the existing blue.
It is, John. So the house on the left-hand side of your screen is the house that we're reviewing. And the blue that you see on that house is existing. What they're trying to do is get a lighter blue like the one shown on the right-hand side photograph. That's what they're up to. John?
I'm here.
Yeah, so did you get what I just said?
The speaker's not working correctly.
Okay, so I'm going to say it again. So the house on the left-hand side, which is on Broadway, it's 17 Broadway, it's a historic house, has the dark blue already on it, okay? What they want to do, what the application is for, is to change it to a lighter blue, like the one that you see on the right-hand side of the screen, the house on Sankaty Ave.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Ray. What is the request on this?
The request is to make the blue lighter on the house on the left-hand side.
Right, yeah, it's hard now. I had to wait 20 minutes messing with this computer.
Understood.
That's old. Like me, it's old.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna jump to Carrie and see what she has to say. And
Existing blue is a lot more appropriate. I think the proposed blue looks like a Bermuda color instead of a Sconset color.
yeah, so Val, I'm not sure that the photograph, I can't imagine that the blue is actually as harsh as that photograph is portraying it. Because, you know, I drive down that road all the time and nothing ever struck me as being like electric blue out there. So maybe you could get more specific, like in terms of color chips and
Yep.
something a little bit more accurate. You know, I think if we could hold this for revisions, it would probably be the safe thing to do right now.
I'll
Okay.
make a motion to hold for revisions.
Yeah,
Or
okay.
color.
Or
That's,
did you, I had a thought that if Val wanted it passed, we could go with Folger Blue, which is an acceptable historic color.
Thank you, Abby, but I'm gonna, I think, bring in more information and try to get some chips to make it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Can you see if they'll negate the lattice that's on the shingled wall? Because
Ooh,
that in any color is.
I don't know that that's gonna go back on there. That's the picture from before the renovation.
Oh, so if
Yeah.
we lose that, that would be really good.
Yeah.
That needs to go away.
Painted lattice is crummy. Okay, so let's see, I believe Diane had made a motion to hold this for revisions, correct, Diane?
Yeah, and paint chips.
Yeah,
Color.
right. Okay, so that sounds good. So on that motion, John,
Hey,
very good. Carrie,
I,
thank you. Abby? Abby? Did she disappear?
He's muted.
Abby, you're muted.
I
Diane?
know the dog was barking. Yes, I'm a yes.
Okay, thank you. Diane, on your motion?
Yes.
Thank you, and I'm in favor as well. So there we go. That's that. Thanks, Val. And
Thank you.
now- And now we are at 8 New Mill Street Garage Apartment. And who's representing this?
That would be me.
Okay, so is this the one where we're gonna have neighbors?
Yep. So I'm gonna, Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna, right off the bat, I'm gonna reserve the right to rebut.
Okay, I will give you that. I'll grant you that on one condition, Linda. That you keep your initial presentation concise.
Yep.
And address what the HDC's concerns should be, and you know
Yep.
what they are, rather than anticipate and preemptively strike back at neighbor concerns, which I think you are aware of. But so let's just have the presentation, have it be brief. We'll hear from neighbors and I'll allow you to rebut, but I would love for anyone who's listening right now to understand that our time is limited. The HDC is not in control of subdivisions. They're not in control of visibility from anything other than a public way. We don't concern ourselves with sound, things like that. So I'd like to stay limited to this application and to the HDC's role in approving this application. Okay, having said that, Linda, you get the microphone.
Okay, it's been a while for us to get to this point. So we went to HSAB a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And HSAB has, I sent the report out to everybody, so hopefully they have it in front of them.
Linda, hang on one second. I should do this right from the outset. We now, with John arriving, we now have a full board. So it's the regular board that's sitting on this.
Okay, perfect.
All right, go ahead.
I've got a copy of what Holly sent me from HSAB. They said the style doesn't relate to the main house. You can see it where it's starred right here. Applicant, we fixed the garage doors to make them carriage doors. We lowered the height, which was a concern for them. We changed the pitch from 12 to 12 to 9 to 12. We changed the height, brought it down to 23. It is a garage apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment.
Mhm.
The main house is very small. It's only 840 square feet. This is going to have a garage and an apartment in it. In the very back corner right there on the right, you can see the grade changes from 42 down to 36 from the street. And so it's going to be actually shorter from the street. Hang on right there. It's going to actually be shorter from the street because it's going to be dropped in grade down 6 feet. So you're going to be going downhill to the back right-hand corner.
Let me make sure I understood what you just said.
You might want to
So
go back up.
the elevation at the street is 42,
42.
and the
And the
elevation where you're proposing putting this is 36. Did I get that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
It dips down from Mill Hill and it dips down from New Mill. So it's down in the back right-hand corner, but it meets all the setbacks. It's 7 feet from one side, 6, 7 from the rear. It's
Okay.
only a 5-foot setback. This is, stay right there. This is also an oversized lot. It is 7,700 square feet in a 5,000 square foot zone. No one on the street except for number 5 across the street has that large a lot. They're at 7,800. Ground covers are comparable between the two. The house is only 840 square feet. The garage is 600 and can't see it in front of me, but it's 682, I believe.
Okay.
So combined, it's actually less ground covered than half the houses in the neighborhood, but that's immaterial. It is a very simple structure. We changed the plate heights for HSAB. We changed the height. We changed the dormer pitches. We changed the doors to make them more like carriage doors. We took the 3 French doors off the rear, made the deck smaller. It's only 55 square feet, which is basically 55 by 11. So you can get up and down in the back. Took the doors out, put 1 door and 1 window. The only thing Holly has asked us to do, the planning board's already approved it in the location and the access points. The only thing Holly asked us to do was on the front elevation, go back up 1, please. It doesn't make any sense to have a 12 light, which matches the house. It didn't work with the doors and it didn't work with the side doors. So we're going to change that to a 6/6 to panes. So the panes match the garage doors. And we're going to change that thing on the right from a 12 light to a 9 light because that will also track the same panes. But it's a relatively minor structure. It's only 20 feet wide on the main body, except for the second set of stairs coming down, which is that door on the right. We're planning on putting a heavy vegetation on the back lot line. There's already vegetation on the south lot line. And some of the other comments were from neighbors that nobody has one. I found several in the neighborhood. There's one right there, the HDC approved. So the photos that track it are garage apartments, garages that were converted, garage like that around the corner. They're all over the neighborhood. They're all over downtown. There was, this is New Dollar Lane. Keep going. That's right around the corner on Milk Street. The one below it was approved. That's on Green Lane and Milk. That's 105 Main, which was converted from a garage to a complete second dwelling. 90 Main Street, you guys just approved that last year or the year before that, where the old garage came down and garage apartment went in. There's another garage apartment around the corner at 48 Prospect. And then there are our comments and notes about the neighborhood status. The issues of driveway, issues of flooding, issues of what they can see from their backyard. I believe a couple of them are on here that back up to it from Mill Street are on, I saw them earlier listed. I don't care what they can see from their backyards. The issue is what can you see from New Mill Street in particular. And the only way you can see this structure from New Mill because of how far back and how far down the grade it goes is to stand at the top of the driveway and look back. So the impact is marginal. It doesn't have any street presence. It is a subservient to the main house. It's the main house is really simple. It was an infill structure built, I think in 1977, if not correct. The one next to us at 6 was built in 1993. The one down at 3 was built in 2000. So there's varying degrees of new and old all through this particular area of the old historic district, and ROH is still in ROH. So we figured that this was small, out of the way, no street presence, and no real impact on anything. The air conditioning units are back in that corner away from everybody. Surrounded by a fence. It is charted it earlier. It is 70 some odd feet away from one of the houses on Mill, and it's 100 and something feet away from the other house on Mill. A lot of these houses have AC units. This is just one AC unit surrounded by a 4-foot fence. Colors will track the main house. And that's all I've really got to say at this point. I don't know if it'll go through today, but otherwise you can read the reports that I sent you because it's got everything listed out there. All the pictures of the other neighborhoods, pictures of the other houses. It is a 4-bay house, very simple.
Okay.
Oddly an infill on this street, and it's not the only infill on this street, but we did address all of the HSAB concerns. And I believe, Mr. Chairman, you have my response to the latest letter that came in, but if we have to address it, we have to address it. Because one of these letters, just point out without going through it one by one of these letters actually said it was a 5,000 square foot lot. It's not. Actually listed the ground cover as 736. It's not. So 90% of what's in this latest letter from the Beelmans is inaccurate. So if we're going to have any objections, I wish they would be based on accuracy and an actual reading of the building with Nantucket in mind.
He corrected that information.
Yeah, but this letter that I rebutted is in the file. So if it doesn't go through today, which I think it should, but it's up to you guys, and it'll be in the packet next when it comes out.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Linda. Now we're going to hear from HSAB via.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. So HSAB did take a look at this on April 26th. Their comments, as Linda has indicated on here, are exactly their comments. The style does not relate to the main house or any other buildings in the immediate neighborhood. A change in style and a roof pitch would solve their concerns. They have altered the door to make it more typical of carriage doors and changed the roof pitch from a 12/12 to a 9/12. This structure, the existing main dwelling, is an infill from 1977, so it is non-contributing, but obviously the style meets the characteristics outlined in building with Nantucket in mind. The height, too tall, shallow roof pitch, drop the plate. They did reduce that. So I think that is good. Dormer plate should be lower. They've adjusted that accordingly. And then the back may be visible from Mill Hill Street, requiring a change, the triple French doors. They eliminated, thank you for eliminating that. I want to add too that the original application before you, if it wasn't for, we did not have any photographs of the main dwelling except for the photos that are included on this first sheet. So it was hard to really get a reading of this infill structure. So thank you, Linda, for providing these photographs of the existing dwelling. That's actually very beneficial. I believe those were all, oh yeah. And then Linda had mentioned, which I thanked her on that, this window in the Gable end, the front that's facing New Mill, that window should definitely be changed to correlate. I had a concern on the window panes. The window panes don't relate to one another, and they really should, as well as this isn't kind of an anomaly by itself because although the main dwelling has, which is an infill again, 12/12 windows, this would be the only elevation of this structure that would have a 12/12 versus 6/6. So I'm glad to hear that could be changed. Those are the comments, as well as you've all received multiple comments from abutters. I assume that it's probably some here at the meeting as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, can we do one thing before we move on, go down? Who's got control of the screen? Can we go down to those the pictures from New Mill, which are below this, just below this, I believe, or above it? I think that's, nope, up there. Yeah, in there somewhere. All right, go down, up above. Yes, here we go. All the way up. That's from New Mill.
Right.
Between 15 and 17, go up. That's what it looks like when the tree is in full bloom in between 15 and 17. And this is what it looks like right now from the street. They took a picture blown up from their backyard. That's not allowable. Those trees are the ones that are big, full down here, but you can see that the garage is hidden by those trees no matter what you do.
Okay.
And it's lower. This also is a 42 elevation on this side, and it's down 36. So it's still down another 6 feet.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Now, I wanted to be clear to the board members that are sitting on this in particular, that the HSAB concerns that Holly just read through have in large part been addressed in revised drawings. So that's what you're actually looking at, like the roof pitches change, et cetera, et cetera. And the only thing that really hasn't been changed is the 12/12 has not gone to a 6/6, but apparently it's intended to. So
And a
the
9
roof
light
pitch
side door.
dropped, the height dropped, blah, blah, blah. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that when this went to HSAB, modifications were made. And so what we're looking at is modifications based on HSAB comments. Okay, with that now, I would like to open it up to concerns from the neighbors. The way that this works, folks, is if you would like to speak on this application, you want to unmute yourself, announce your name and your address for the record, and then we'll hear you, okay? So whoever out there wants to speak on this, just unmute and tell us who you are.
Hey, there's Charles Davis. I'm over at 15 Mill Street.
Thank you.
And thank you for letting us speak for a few minutes on this. Sure. This is maybe something that in her rebuttal, Ms. Williams can address, but we did note that some of the numbers are inconsistent on the 9th page of the packet, which is talks about ground cover, existing dwelling on the plans 856, legend says 840. Maybe we're just misunderstanding that. Likewise, the proposed structure in the drawing says 682, then the legend's 736. So we may not be reading that right, but just with respect to the whole issue of inconsistency, it might be good later on to just.
I will allow Linda to address those comments. How's that sound?
Well, that's fine. I'm not a professional at this, so I'm sure that there's another way to read this.
I could probably break it down for you, but I'm sure Linda's much more on top of this than I am. So we'll get an answer for you in a second. Thank you.
But I'm sorry. I did have some.
Oh yeah, proceed. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to do a quick recap of some of the thoughts we tried to put into writing in our note back on Wednesday. And I think we talked a little bit about this, or you've touched on it, Mr. Chair. But the proposed building site really is quite visible from both New Mill Street and in particular Mill Street. I know there's I think it was a picture embedded in the PORS note that was sent, that was taken between 15 and 17. It's quite visible. It was not in the package that I saw put forward by Ms. Williams. So I'm hoping people can look at that at the right time. I think there's no doubt that this is visible from the public traveled way, which I think is the right parlance. We really think that the proportion of the proposed structure is too large. We know it's at 80%. We know that's what's apparently allowable or technically allowable. The question, as you know, I guess the question that we're often dealing with too often these days is, just because you can do something to maximize what's allowed, is that really the right thing to do? Again, perhaps rhetorical, and maybe a question for the owners to think about. I think the issue on the deck, because it's not just a walkway up to a doorway in the back. I mean, it goes from the width of the stairs out to, I think, 5 feet. And that's why it's a 55-foot deck with a table that's envisioned on that deck. We just think that's inappropriate. Again, going back over to, I think, page 83 of Nantucket in Mind, building with Nantucket in Mind. Property line, again, just because you can get something to 5 feet away from somebody's property line, 15 feet away from somebody's house, doesn't make it the right thing to do. So we really think that people ought to think about perhaps reducing the size of this structure and trying to move it away from the property lines. Architectural point that I'm sure you all are all over is just the bumped out double roof lines seem to be out of context with the Quaker design that I think is common in this area. This is a question, and I'm sure this will be part of the rebuttal, but we don't know the answer to this. Is HDC going to be reviewing the non-permitted, non-conforming driveway that's on the parcel, which is currently in front of the planning board?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
No.
That is not before you. It is not coming before you for, if at all.
Okay, so Linda, thank you for answering for me. Continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll finish up pretty quickly here. But so we also listened to the 26 April HSAB meeting. We did note in particular some additional points that were covered with respect to observations on the inappropriate size and height of the structure and the lack of similar structures on New Mill Street. So I guess finally, last thought, this property's a well-advertised commercial enterprise.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. It's a legal residential use.
I think I have the floor, sir,
My
madam.
point of order has to be taken.
Linda, hang
Rental
on.
use
I
of the
know,
cottage
this
is
is
not there.
ridiculous.
Linda, you can continue to do that. So Mr. Davis, I believe where you're going has to do with the rental of this. Is that correct?
No, actually, I will go ahead and strike my comments on this being
Okay,
commercial.
that really is
But
not the main.
I will just simply close with this proposed expansion of whatever it is going to have or would have a significant negative impact on what I think all would agree is a gem of a traditional Nantucket neighborhood.
We all agree to that. There's no question about that.
So I'll stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Davis. And Linda, at some point, maybe you could address the ground cover, even though that is not, once again, part of our review process. It's really a building department thing. But I'm sure there are other people that would like to speak. If so, please unmute, name and address for the record, and we can hear what you have to say.
Hi, my name is Pat Beilman, and I live 17 Mill Street, High Ray. Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My husband, David Poor, and I live at 17 Mill Street, directly abutting 8 New Mill Street's rear yard. David's family has lived in the house since the late 50s. He remembers growing up in a Nantucket that is very different from what it is now. Then there were more open spaces and simpler homes reflecting the Quaker design sensibility, which has been preserved in many places on the island, particularly in the residential Old Historic District. We are voicing our views to help continue this preservation. I'm speaking to you today to wholeheartedly support Chuck and later Ann Davis's comments, and to respectfully express our own concerns about the proposed garage apartment at 8 New Mill Street. We, too, sent an email to the HDC expressing our concerns about the first proposal. We have additional concerns about the new proposal, which became available on Wednesday. As you commissioners are charged with following the HDC guidelines in the publication Building with Nantucket in Mind, which I often cite in my comments, you will be familiar with each point of concern. As I reviewed the HDC guidelines and then the plans, however, I was taken with just how much out of compliance the proposed design is. I would have thought an architect who designs homes in the Old Historic District would try to reflect these guidelines. I will explain what I mean as I quote from the HDC publication, Building with Nantucket in Mind. In reference to second dwellings and garage apartments, the guidelines contain the words concealing, minimizing, should not be prominent, subordinate in scale, harmonize, sympathetic in design, compatible proportions. None of these aspects are at play in this proposed design. It is in fact bulky, too high, lacks design symmetry, and is out of scale with relation to the existing house at New Mill Street and other houses on New Mill Street and in the nearby neighborhood. I will describe below the reasons why the garage apartment needs revision. With regard to scale, proportion, and integral design, I quote from page 66 of the guidelines. Any new construction in the town should be of a scale compatible with that of adjacent buildings. Also, the scale of spaces between buildings should be carefully considered, end of quote. We maintain that the scale of the proposed structure is too large at around 80% of the footprint of the main house, 682 square feet versus 850 square feet. Second, no other house on New Mill Street has a second building. I quote from page 61, "In the historic town, it is imperative to conceal or minimize the visual impact of garages. Placement of the garage to the rear of the lot is preferred. Garages should be plain in treatment or coordinated with the house style. We submit that the design is not compatible with the existing house or neighboring houses." From page 61, quote, "Whether attached or detached, the garage should be an integral part of the overall concept of design. The siting of a garage or its addition to a building should not be unnecessarily prominent." From page 66, I quote, "The proportions of the facade of a new building along the street should be compatible with the proportions of the existing buildings," unquote. And from page 106, "Where new construction is adjacent to other buildings, it should establish a relatedness to them in terms of the primary visual aspects of bulk, height, massing, and scale," end of quote. We submit that the garage apartment has no proportional relation to the existing house or to any of the houses on New Mill Street. 12 New Mill Street, which is a main dwelling, is smaller than the proposed garage apartment. We respectfully request that the commissioners reconsider the overall size. With regard to roofs, from page 70, I quote, "Roof designs should harmonize with the rhythm of roofs along the street. New roofs should be guided by the character already established," end of quote. We submit that the main roof pitch does not appear to be compatible with the main house or neighboring houses. In regard to height, from page 66, quote, "Secondary dwellings should be limited to 1 or 1.5 stories in height with a maximum ridge elevation not to exceed 22 feet. They shall be subordinate in form and scale and sympathetic in detail and fenestration to the character of the principal dwelling. They shall be sited in such a way as to maintain clear views of the principal dwelling from the street or public way." This citation, that's the end of the quote, "This citation clearly states that secondary dwellings are not to exceed 22 feet. The proposed garage apartment is 23 feet 2 inches. The roof needs to be lowered to a maximum of 22 feet. Regarding dormers, from page 72, quote, "Flush gable dormers are generally discouraged in the old historic district," end of quote. From page 110, quote, "Large shed dormers that extend the entire length of the roof are specifically discouraged because they are too dominant on the roof plane," end of quote. From page 110, quote, "In general, the dormer face should be placed in the center of the roof, away from the edges and pulled back at least 3 feet from either gable end of the roof, and at least 1 foot, preferably more, from the bottom edge of the roof plane." From page 109, quote, "All dormers should be carefully designed and positioned to be in scale with the house and the roof and in balance with other features of that elevation of the house. A dormer should not obliterate the roof plane in which it is placed, but complement its slope," end of quote. We submit that the dormers in this proposed building appear to conflict with every guideline above. Regarding exterior stairs, page 84, quote, "Exterior stairs are not part of the architectural tradition on Nantucket and so are not considered appropriate," end of quote. We respectfully submit that the exterior stairs should be eliminated. They would also be very visible from Mill Street, a public way. With regard to decks, from page 83, I quote, "All decks in the designated old historic districts are restricted to first floor rear only. The Commission discourages their use on any elevation visible from a public way," end of quote. We respectfully submit that the deck be removed. As I cited, decks in the ROH are restricted to the first floor and are discouraged on any elevation when visible from a public way. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see the attached photo that I sent in.
Not at the moment.
Okay, taken from between 15 and 17 Mill Street, that the deck and exterior stairs would be very visible from Mill Street, a public traveled way. I have 2 more points. We would like to know that there is a steep angle from the end of the driveway to the rear lot line. We are concerned that additional construction on this site would cause flooding and runoff into the rear of 17 Mill Street. We respectfully propose this be reviewed for comment by the HDC. And I know that you mentioned that you're not, AC condensers are not in your purview, but we suggest that since the noise would be heard from 15, 17, and 19 Mill Street, the AC condenser's current location should be changed and relocated to either the northeast elevation or close to the front of the garage on the southwest elevation. David and I are confident that for all these reasons, this proposed garage apartment does not comport with the guidelines set forth by the HDC and should be revised. Thank you for your consideration.
Is
Thank you
this
very
one
much.
to rebut, or do you want me to wait?
No, I would like
Oh,
you to, please.
I'd love to make a comment if I could. My name's Ann Lingaman Davis
Okay,
of 15 Mill Street.
yep.
I am an abutter and also a trained preservationist. I'd like to speak again about context and appropriateness as it relates to the new Mill and Mill Street neighborhoods. What is being discussed here will be highly visible from New Mill, Mill Street, and the celebrated open spaces of the Land Bank land and the Ham Pony Field. I disagree with Linda on the fact that the trees are going to fill in there, because that's not the case. And a lot of us, like those of us that are here in December, it's visible any season, from certainly between 15 and 17, and also the open spaces. And the picture that Linda showed was actually between 15 and 19 with the tree. I'm sorry, 17 and 19 with the tree. That was incorrect. That was not the view between 15 and 17.
Both.
In thinking about the contextual landscape, it's important to mention that there are also well-preserved open spaces in the form of yards between 13, 15, and 17 Mill Street. The oversized garage house will loom over these thoughtfully maintained and viewable to the public yards, hindering the consistent theme and sense of openness that is enjoyed by the public and the neighborhood. Regarding the architectural design, I listened very carefully to the HSAB meeting, and there was a big discussion about moving the stairway interior onto the interior. Brooke brought it up and it was discussed, and I don't know why that's not being mentioned today. They all agreed on that.
I was in remiss, my apologies, but yes, that is correct, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
the stair was to be moved inside. That was their recommendation. And I just want to also touch on that it doesn't really relate to the primary dwelling. And the 55 square foot deck is another inappropriate feature. There's a lovely house, a primary dwelling, 2 doors down at 12 Mill Street, that I am absolutely sure is much smaller than what is being proposed here for a garage. And I had a chance to walk the neighborhood, and I really cannot see another secondary dwelling on New Mill. If it's there, it's not visible. So I'd encourage the board to make a site visit to understand the high visibility and impacts of this proposed structure. And I think it should also be considered that a secondary dwelling, is it even appropriate for this street, given there are none in existence at the moment? So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Davis.
Now, is it my turn to just quickly go through it?
Hold on, Linda. I want to make sure that I've covered all of the neighbors. Anyone else care to speak on this before I give Linda her brief rebuttal period? Is that someone?
No, that was Diane laughing at the word brief.
Okay.
Go ahead. Hello.
Yes.
Go ahead, you can speak.
I just want to,
Jennifer.
They are, Mr.
Chris,
Chairman.
I'm Chris Damon at 12 New Mill.
Okay, hi.
And I don't understand why foliage is important, because it's not there the entire year. It's probably there less than half the year. And secondly, on a minor point, John Mclaughlin may know this area very well, since his father owned the house that's next door, and John lived there.
I'm sure he'll announce that later.
Okay, that's it.
Ray, we sent in a picture of 12 New Mill. It's the smallest house probably in the HDC, and we don't have the actual dimensions. We're in Boston right now, but it was a barn for the house for 14 on the corner. Oh, thank you. There it is. And we're set back a bit from the street, but it is pretty small. There's 1.5 beds in that house.
Mhm.
So that is the smallest house on the street.
Yeah,
Thank you for reviewing this application.
sure. Well, thank you for your comments.
Mr.
Anyone else?
Chair,
Yes, Holly.
I just wanted to, yes, I was remiss in mentioning that Brooke Meerbergen did mention that this exterior stairs could be split in the middle on the inside under the eave, so that way there would be no exterior stairs, because that is a comment overall.
No, yeah, thanks.
It wasn't in the notes that Holly sent me. Just want to make sure.
Okay.
Absolutely, sorry.
It's good to keep these things clear. Anyone else?
Hey, hey,
John, yes, that's you, but I'm going to get to you in just a second, okay? You'll have your chance in just a second. Okay, so Linda, very short rebuttal, please.
Quickly, I believe you have a copy of it, Ray. These are guidelines, not rules and regulations, first off. So they're being promoted here as rules and regulations, first off, having sat on the board for 20 years. She cites concealing, minimize, et cetera, not prominent and subordinate to the primary structure, which this is. It's simple like the house. The only time you're going to see it is from the gable ends, which are 20 feet wide. You are not going to see at any time the length of this structure. And the dormers are only viewable in profile, and they're set back more than 3 feet from each end. Whether it's rented or not is immaterial. We are also under the usual allowance from the HDC of 24 feet. We're down at 23 feet. We were up pretty close to 27 feet, 28 feet before with a 12 over 12 pitch. Got rid of that and lowered it.
Yep.
The lot is the largest in the neighborhood, except on New Mill Street, except for 5 New Mill, which is only 100 square feet greater than our 7,700. Our ground cover allowance is 3,000 square feet in that district. And it's only 682 square feet. I don't understand the 736. The design is simple, should not relate to and does relate to the primary house because it is simple and it's out of sight. So saying it has a street presence on either New Mill or Mill is outrageous to me. It's in the back of the lot, down 6 feet in grade, and I'm not interested in their backyards. Their backyards are not being impacted. You can see it by an aerial which is higher up. Their backyards will still have their own. Let's stay right there for a second. Their backyards still have all their foliage, all their trees, everything. And we're going to plant year-round vegetation along that back property line, not something that goes away like privet.
Linda?
So we're going to screen that.
Okay.
Hang on.
Well, let's just be careful here. We don't need to go point by point rebuttal for
I'm
every single
cherry
comment.
picking here. However, go back up to that one, please. Right there. And I sent Holly a better picture of it. That is owned by one of the people who just spoke. That is a garage studio or garage apartment. I don't know what the use is, but that is on the road on Mill Street, perfectly visible to the public as they travel on that way. And it's far more visible and took up a whole lot next to them, 15 or 13, I believe it's 13, owned by 15 by one of the people who spoke. So the duplicity is very upsetting for the applicant and myself, that they can throw stones at something when they've done exactly what's not supposed to be done. It doesn't relate to the main house. It is not shielded by anything, and it's 20 feet or so off the road. Okay.
Linda,
The secondary height rule doesn't apply because it is a garage apartment. The dormers I've already mentioned. The second means of access is required. We'd rather do it there so they have some light and air. It's on the back of the structure and not visible at all from New Mill, and marginally visible because of the 6-foot grade drop and all the other foliage in between, and the fact that we're going to plant not visible potentially from Mill. It's impossible to completely shield any structure in town from any public view. And that is not something the HDC has ever required. Right. As a garage apartment is lower than every other structure around it, the flooding is not an issue and not before you. They're as far away from everybody as we can get them. They're not going to be placed on the front of the structure, which would then be visible from New Mill. If you stand at the top of this driveway, is the only place on New Mill that this structure is visible. As far as the pony fields, they are not visible from the pony fields because there are structures in the way. As far as the 2 recently purchased land bank open space lots, which are above the pony fields as you go up Mill Street, I took a picture from there without blowing it up, which is what which one of the speakers did, which is not allowed. It's the naked eye from the street as you're traveling on the road. And all of my pictures, which are below here somewhere or above here, are taken from traveled ways, not fooling around, not taking them where you can't see them up above this. Let's start there. There's the house, there's the driveway. You can see where it drops down, keep going. That's from the backyard, which you're not allowed to go into, looking up the hill. That in the right-hand corner at the bottom of this is where it's going. And those are all backyards. And there is a large tree on that right between us and New Mill. So this is all backyards. Again, we're going to plant along the entire row of that fence back there. That's one corner. This is the other side. You can see the grade change because you can see what the deck is and how high the one next to me is. Then we have an illegal deck on the left side of us at number 10, but we're not going to go there.
I hope not.
Here's the view from 17, I believe it's 17 and 19. I did say 17 and 19, by the way. And that's what the tree looks like when it's in full bloom right below that. And then I took a picture between 19, I believe, and 17. If you go down one more, that is between 15 and 17, looking up from one of the land bank things, but it doesn't matter. And that's the pony field way down at the bottom of the hill. And these right-hand lots are the land bank lots. So I object to some of the things that were said because we met them and we are not in violation of building with Nantucket in mind. And if you want to get down to 2nd floor decks, I've been on the board for 20 years and we approve 2nd floor decks in town, depending on where they were and how visible. And every one of the bricks has a 2nd floor deck. So let's just.
I'm going to mute you.
Yep, I'm
sure
done.
You're very interested in hearing what the board actually thinks of this application. How about that?
That's good.
Why don't we move on to that? Because it's rather important that you know what the board thinks about this application, okay? Thank you very much, Linda. Now, who among board members would like to dip their toes into the gelid water of this application right now? John, would that be you?
Thank you.
Okay, John, what do you think about the application, sir?
Thank you.
All right.
Talk about beat something to death.
You think so? Okay, go ahead.
I looked at the drawing here and I saw the thing, and I think the only thing that I would find any great problem whether the garage is suitable for the neighborhood. There are other garages at that standard. What I'd say is this one here is on the northwest elevation. I believe that's can be seen from a street or travel way, like the state law says. It doesn't just say travel, it says street or travel way. So you have two choices to make something compatible. I find on the northwest elevation, the second floor, that 12/12 is the only 12/12 with the others that are compatible to a smaller size for the size of the building. And that 12/12 should disappear and match one of the other smaller windows, which is typical to the immediate surroundings. That's what I got to say, and that's, we beat this place to death in this application. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
John.
All
Well,
right.
it's in a very sensitive area of town, and a lot is happening over there. But John, thank you so much for your comments. Abby, are you ready?
Yeah, I didn't think you'd get to me. I'm here.
Okay,
I,
good.
I understand the neighbors. You've got a beautiful backyard, and I'm sorry that, but I guess the problem is that this is allowed, a second dwelling. You can't really deny it. So given that, I'd like to see it reduced in massing. I think it is a very chunky looking building instead of more of a federal style compatibility. So I think if they set back the dormers and not make them flush, I know they would be very small, but this should be a small secular building to the main mass. So they would just be small windows. Yeah, 6/6 for the front window over the garage doors. I would be very happy to see the stairs go inside. I think reducing the size of the massing and taking it away from the property line would appease neighbors, and I think that would be a nice thing to do. Also the AC being right on that corner, you know, that's a little bit, you could be a little more sensitive to the neighbors on that. So that's it. Set back the dormers, scale it down, reduce the massing. That's what I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Abby. Diane, how about you?
Yeah, I got a few questions.
Yep.
First of all, somebody remarked that we, the HTC, did not go over AC units. We
Oh,
do
no,
it
no.
all.
That wasn't me.
No, so Pat mentioned that, but Pat, I did want to get back to you on that. We actually are in control of AC units, but the visual component of them, not the acoustical component. So we do have a say in where they go and how they're concealed. So I think that's what Diane's about to say. So go ahead, Diane.
Yeah, that's what made me wonder when we lost that ability.
No, we've never lost that. No.
I think that Pat Bielman and David Poor had some very good ideas, because they certainly have spent the time building with Nantucket in mind. And it's something that I have been mentioning ad nauseum this year, about the importance of having a house fit into the neighborhood, rather than look at it just as something that will pass the HDC. But that is important. We're trying to keep the neighborhoods so that they sort of follow what the HTC has approved for 50 some odd years, plus the people who lived here before us, who has kept the building, who has kept the Quaker buildings. I think this building has, unfortunately, I think it has zilch charm. The window above the doors, I don't know where it says the second floor is. And I know it's come in, I understand that it's at 23.2, and that at tops, depending on what it is next to, 24 is the limit. But is there any ability to drop that second floor down so there is not so much space between the window of the second floor and the garage windows of the first floor? I don't know. I'm not educated on moving floor levels, but I think that it would improve considerably if it came down so it didn't look like a box, which it does now, and it would fit in more. Even that garage that Linda showed that had the two doors that belonged to somebody was squattier. It may have been wider, but it was squattier than this. This doesn't look like a garage. And primarily I see it, I looked on my agenda twice and it says garage apartment. So I feel that this is a garage we're looking at. I would like to see it look more like a garage than like a secondary building. I would like to get off the front northwest elevation and get the thing, the staircase. This is the garage. This is the northeast elevation. It should have some windows on the first floor. That when they built garages, they didn't make it black, dark inside. And certainly you would have space to move that staircase in. I think that and can we do the west elevation?
Well, these unfortunately like southeast, northwest.
Yeah, southeast with the deck on the second floor. And again, a windowless first floor. So your whole site is the second floor. The first floor is just a foundation, a tall foundation. And let's get the south? Should we look at south?
Southwest.
Southwest. Again, the staircase can be brought in. It's a simple building. Either it's a house and we call it that, or it's a garage with an apartment up above. And I think that it is not showing that. I don't know what, because I don't see the interior, what those three little 9/9s, and I know that you're going to make the door a 9 light door. So there, there is the garage, there is room, there is a staircase, or what is that? Right there, looks like a staircase to me.
Staircase, yes.
Second staircase for code.
Okay.
Right. And you have to have two codes, I understand. So the outdoor staircase may be necessary to give you the two things, but it has to be made smaller to fit in with the buildings along both South Mill, and even in looking at a distance which can't be seen Prospect, but it does fill an area. 1881 house down the line, and all the little house, the little tiny house across from the pony barn, and the ones that have been built going along that Mill Street. It should fit in, and it does not. Unfortunately, I don't find it fitting in. It needs to come down. It needs to be more compliant with the first floor, I think. And the AC condenser is fine.
Okay. Thank you, Diane. Val. Did we lose you?
Hi, no.
Okay.
Am I unmuted now?
You are. Yeah.
Okay. I'm a little bothered by the concern about this structure because I did drive around this neighborhood several times in the last week because it seems like we keep having applications in this area. And there are structures that are so much larger than this, that are garages closer to the street with much larger spaces up above. And further, the lot drops down in the rear. And so just by virtue of that, now I don't know what's going to happen with the driveway. That's not before us at the moment. If they're going to, leave it the way it is and slope down into the garage, that may be a problem in and of itself. But just by virtue of that drop in grade, it also mitigates the height. I had seen the first iteration and had some great concern because it was like a 12 pitch and it was so much larger. And I think that this revision iteration has come a long way from that first one. Now, does it seem a little bit more contemporary than the stuff in the area? Maybe. It's more conventional. So maybe the idea is to think carriage house and make something, more barn-like. I don't know. That's up to who's drawing the plan, but maybe a door. I mean, a roof over the garage doors. And I don't know. I mean, I don't want to design it for you. For me, it's not scale and massing. That is my concern because I think it's fine. Perhaps another thought is to think about doing a second dwelling, a real second dwelling, and attaching a simple garage to that, a one bay, simple little additive mass on the side for the car. And just to clarify something I heard earlier about second dwellings over garages or barns are not held to the same criteria as just a cottage, which is 22 feet. There is a little bit more leeway because of the fact that there's a garage below and perhaps need an overhead lift or something there. So I do think that there's some work that could be done to this, but I don't see this as the ruination of the neighborhood.
Okay. So Val, what you were talking about is somewhere after the 22-foot rule came into being, there was a subsequent add-on to that said if it's over a garage that it could be 24 feet, only the portion that's over the garage.
The garage, right.
So just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the length of the two side shed dormers. They're quite long, they're uninterrupted. They're I hate to use this term, but rather boring. I loved Val's concept of like the carriage house. I think this thing could be made more attractive as a carriage house. Now, also this second means of egress, I don't want to speak out of school, but I'm pretty sure that you're allowed to have that one means inside as long as from the first floor of your one staircase, you have two ways out from the first floor. One of them can be through the garage. That's something you might want to research. So you don't necessarily need to have the second exterior stair. But so a lot has been said on this. Linda, you have your homework set out for you. What I'd like to have is a motion to hold this for some revisions, please.
And we also add a view, Mr. Chairman, because you cannot see the length of either side.
Fair enough. Fair enough, Linda. I think that
I don't want to change the length because you can't see it and you can't see the dormers either.
Okay, but my comment about the length of the dormers is you will be able to see them obliquely. You don't look at this just like completely straight on. You're going to be able to have little windows on either side where you can be, sort of see the sides of this building obliquely.
Actually, it doesn't. So that's why I want you to go look at it. You cannot see the sides.
Fair enough. But okay, so thanks, Linda. Somebody was about to make.
Well, I made a motion, Ray.
To hold for revisions?
To hold for revisions.
Yeah.
And to view as you want, because not everybody can get there all the time. To view as you want, and to review it again when those revisions are offered to us, so we can see how it's coming along.
Love the motion. Thank you, Diane. On that motion, John.
Aye.
Thank you, Abby.
Aye.
Thank you, Val.
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
And I'm in favor of that. Motion carries. Thank you very much for your comments, everyone. We'll see you next time. Okay, now we're on to Gary Cream at 6 and 8 Hydrangea Val Oliver Special.
Well, I'd like to hold till Tuesday, please.
Oh,
Following an application like the one we just had, I'd like some separation between everybody's tension.
Yeah, no, I understand if that's what you'd like to do. So can someone other than Val make a motion to hold items 7 and 8?
I'll make a motion to hold 7 and 8 until Tuesday.
Okay, very good. On that motion, Carrie.
Aye.
Oh, there you go. John.
Aye.
John. Thank you. Abby.
Aye.
Diane.
Aye.
And I'm in favor, so that motion carries. Okay, so that brings us to 2 Sandplain Drive Pool. Do we have somebody to represent this?
Mr. Chair, I don't see him here.
Okay, so just 1 second. If there's anybody out there in the queue who is on to represent 2 Sandplain Drive, please unmute. Otherwise, we're going to move to Belanger Paul, or BPC, I should say, Warren's Landing applications. Hearing none, we're going to move forward then to 47 Warren's Landing. Who wants to rep this one? These 3, I should say.
Well, this is Joe Paul here. I was actually going to motion or ask for a motion similar to what Val just made, but if the board, I thought I had heard a rumor that you might be ending at 2:45, so okay, I'd like to have.
Maybe at this point, I can just simply ask the question. I'm good until like 3:15. How's everybody feeling?
I have a headache.
I bet you do. Do you want to quit at 3 or?
Yeah, let's say 3 because
3.
has anybody looked outside?
Well, it's a pretty day outside.
Yeah, and dogs need walking.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Well,
so, up to you, Joe. Yeah, 15 minutes.
Yeah, let's go for it because it's a house and a pool and a cabana, and it's the first time you've seen it, and I think it would be great to get some initial feedback.
Yeah, okay, we'll probably just hit the house in 15 minutes, but let's see how. Yeah. Okay, so 47 Warren's Landing. Here we go.
Yeah, I should say, so there's a site plan here, and we're showing both the neighbor's lot on the left and our lot. And our lot has a shaded area over the house plan. That's an existing house, which my client is in negotiations with somebody in the neighborhood to move this off onto their property. So I don't have a move off application in for this, but that's the intention, and it's in great shape. It's not going to be demolished, and we're looking to move it to the neighborhood. But you can see, and if you end up doing a view, the existing driveway is on the right-hand side of this lot. There's, the next page, which is photographs, shows some context photos. And actually, if you start on the top left is as you're exiting basically Fisher's Landing and starting to go around the corner of Warren's Landing, heading towards Eel Point. And these are all in sequence as you move from left to right and then down the page.
Mm-hmm.
So, and actually where Holly just had her cursor, dead center is the existing cottage. We're stopped there at the driveway looking in at the cottage. And then the image to the right is if you just turned a little bit and we're looking down the street. So there's a row of vegetation there between the road and this cottage. And you can even, and the next one down is just some beyond this, some other structures that are in the neighborhood. Yeah, the next page, this is a 1/8" scale version of it. Let's see, the east elevation is the one that faces the road. The north elevation faces into the driveway. So the side of the house faces the street. And then the west elevation faces across the neighbor's yard. If you need to go back to the site plan just to reference that, that might help. So the long side of the building is perpendicular at a slight angle to the street. And that angle represents, it's parallel to the property lines, and it also is in line with view easements that are on the property to the west of us. My client once owned both of these properties. So there are no build easements and some view easements on the left side. That's what all those other dashed lines are, just for purpose of context. And then to the north of this, you can see there's a pool and a cabana, which, as you mentioned, we might not get to, but just for context. So this is it. If you're in the driveway looking at the house, the street, Warren's Landing would be to the left. And you enter, obviously, into that door here. And we have some oversized glass here in an enclosed porch area that kind of wraps around the corner here. And there's a number of cupolas in the kind of sprinkled throughout this neighborhood. And my client asked for the cupola, and there's definitely precedent for it here. And, you know, clearly we're going for sort of a farmhouse look with the 2/2 windows. We tried moving towards asymmetry so it doesn't have a high degree of formality. And this is all natural trim, and it's a natural wood roof, and cottage corners, just to calm it down a little bit. And that's it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go first.
Sure, John. I just want to make sure of one thing. This is outside of Nantucket advisory, is it not?
No,
No, there are comments. I attached them in the file.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Here we go. Very tall, long, overpowering. Nantucket area plan 25. Ooh,
yeah.
that could be a problem, right, Joe?
It's definitely taller than 25 feet.
I think you have.
Is that a guideline that, or is
No,
that
no,
That's a zoning.
That's hard and fast, man. Yes, so, you know, that's that. Boy, how much over 25 are you?
We're at 28.
Yeah, see, that's going to be a big problem for you. That's like a substantial amount of redesign.
Yeah, well, it looks like these masses would become 1.5 stories with dormers.
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of the intention of that zoning bylaw. Let's see, height of cupola not indicated, SDLs, too large, rural Nantucket, visible from Warren's Landing, 2/2 should be 6/6. Yeah, okay, well, gosh.
All right.
Is that's a zoning law?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the VR zone, village residential.
Yeah. You know,
You also have to have pools permitted by a special permit.
correct. So, yeah, Joe, you might want to ask about that and, you know, check it out. But, you know, that's like a no start in terms of the design. So we could have comments, but I think that rather than, you know, kind of comment on something that clearly needs to be changed fairly substantially from the get-go, could we hold this and have you do a little more research?
Sure. Yeah, I think that that
sorry,
makes sense.
but you know, we'll comment on something, but you're seriously going to have to go back and really, you know, take the scissors to this big time. So maybe we got to hold this for revisions, like.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I think that's the appropriate motion. Thank you. So John, on that motion?
Is that for all three of them?
Well, the other two can track. We haven't gotten to that yet, but he needs to seriously bring the height of this building down. So the motion is to hold for revisions. Are you okay with that motion?
Okay, fine. I have no problem with it.
Thank you. Val on the motion,
Aye.
Diane on the motion,
Aye.
and Abby,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. And then maybe we just have the other two track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make them to have the other two, the studio and the pool track.
Okay, so that's a motion on that motion, John.
What's the question, please?
No, the motion is to have the studio and the pool track the main house. Are you okay with that motion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Abby,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
I'm in favor. Sorry about that, Joe.
That's
Yeah.
all right. So that would be represented on a zoning map somewhere?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Val said it best. I think it's called the VR. Is
Yeah.
it VR?
Village residential.
Village, right?
Yeah, I guess I'd want to look and see if that's in this zone. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thanks,
Thank you.
Joe.
Thanks.
All right, kids, it's 5 of. What do you think?
I say quit.
Fresh air. Let's get some fresh air.
Okay, that sounds fine. So we'll just take the rest of this up on Tuesday. Thanks, everyone, for coming out on a Friday.
A
But happy
beautiful Friday.
And yeah, everybody have a nice weekend. Oh, before we go, Kathy,
Yes,
anything we need to, time sensitive, we need to take care of?
just maybe the minutes if you so choose to approve them.
I'm
27.
okay with that. Would somebody care to make a motion on the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes
But-
of whatever the dates are Kathy has
I
on
will
there.
give them
I
to
just
you.
Of
went
April
Oh, it's April
27th and
27th and 29th.
Yes, that.
Okay, so that's Val's motion. On the motion to approve the minutes of April 27th and 29th, John?
Repeat that, please.
It's just a motion to approve the minutes of April 27th and 29th.
27. Thank you.
Are you okay on the motion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Abby?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Thank you, Val.
Aye.
And I'm in favor, so the minutes are all approved. That's good. And now, John, could I ask you please to make a motion to adjourn for the day?
Yes. So
All right. He says so moved. So that was a motion to adjourn for the day. On that motion, Abby,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
John.
Yes, motion to adjourn.
Yeah, no, and you're in favor of your motion, I'm sure, and I am too. So thank you all once again for coming out on a Friday afternoon, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.